One of these days we're going to have to do a proper driveway, because this results in me having to use the cardboard in the driveway, because today we're working on the big boy. Kudos for the marketing for this company. Go ahead and just give them a call. Let them know you appreciate that. And check this out. They appreciate first responders, which makes sense because they have the giant first responder truck. So what's wrong with this? First things first, I'm told that the lights work just fine in terms of the drive lights, brake lights, and turn signals and reverse lights, but they actually need to tow a trailer on this thing. And the trailer harness that's hooked up to this right now is intermittent at best. And then they want us to hook up a house battery. And if you don't know what a house battery is, it's a battery that'll run all the componentry without killing the battery on the engine side. So they've got two batteries in here. We're going to do a house battery in that compartment there. We're going to hook it to a boat marine switch. And the house battery is going to be a deep cycle. So you can go engine battery, run everything. House battery, run just your equipment. Or 1 and 2, run everything and let the alternator charge both batteries. It's a pretty cool little trick. I'll show you how to do that. And then if we get time, we're going to eat some burritos. The owner of this truck bought me burritos for doing this. That was kind of nice of him. And then we're going to work on the siren. Step 1, get your workspace set up there. Perfect. And I'll show you. You can do the multimeter, or you can buy yourself this little way too expensive Hopkins tester kit. Easiest way to test on these, just go ahead and turn your hazards on. Okay, those are working. Well, this is kind of cool. So he's got the connector here that actually tells you what's going on. So right now I can see my hazards are working because those are blinking. That's basically how this works. So we're going to plug this in, and then after we plug that in, we just hook this up to a good ground, and we should see if we're getting power on both sides. Okay, I can actually just skip the grounding wire test light because this is telling me that everything's functioning the way that it should. So then, let's go see if we turn on the drive lights, what happens. I feel like I'm in a space shuttle or something. There's so many knobs and switches and such. Lights. In. Out. That says lighter, Kyle. Dumbass. Turns out that's the headlight switch. So now I can show you what's going on here. We already showed you the hazards work. But when we come back here with our hazards on, we're getting nothing. But if you get your eyes really close in there and then maybe make it dark. Nope, still nothing. Quarter of a burrito, hour and a half in, and well, I determined that the color change here was a little bit confusing, but if I pull the wires further out and get rid of their loom, I could kind of see what Bill Bob last time did. And assuming that Bill Bob's wiring is correct, which I think it is, because these lights function and these lights function, I can just kind of copy that. Here's the problem we're running into. When I'm probing my wires, I'm getting perfect voltage on anything if I only have one circuit going. But when I turn on multiple circuits like run lights and then turn signals, the run lights take all the power and then the turn signals have nothing. And then the brake lights have nothing. So I'm not quite sure why that's occurring, but the only thing I can think of is that it's just poor wiring on the back end of this. So I'm going to just delete that and then rewire my 5-pin by doing it straight from here, right? Here's the plan. I think they're using black for ground on everything here. And it says stop blue, but I have a red wire here. So I think if I were to take this further out, maybe there's a blue wire back there. I'm not quite sure. But if I just go, assume this red is stop, the tan is tail lights, or the brown as they're calling it. Then I can just run new wires through these holes down to the 5-pin connector up to a 4-pin splicer, and then maybe that will work. Let's give it a go. This is where the multimeter comes in handy because see, it's not enough voltage to turn that light on. But if you see, the hazards are flashing at about 5 or 6 volts, which is not enough to illuminate a bulb. So that's going to be a problem for us. We're getting a perfect 12 volts on the run lights, and come up here and go boop. Now you can see these lights are flashing and we're getting closer to about 10.5 or 11 volts, which is pretty good, but it's still not 12. And I think that means we have a problem with a connection somewhere in the harness tucked up behind this that you can't get to because they riveted this plate on. Okay, so there it is. I forgot to video the other side, but we did this just marrying these two yellow wires to the one red wire on this left turn signal. We did the green wire on the right turn signal. That's just standard wiring color. And then on the top, we just did that same idea for these wires. The brown was our run light, so we ran that one. The red, or the brown, ran to the brown on the harness. The red, we had to splice in our own red wire. But I think everything's going to be okay now. Our voltage is climbing to about 10 or 11, so we'll see how it turns out. Got our looms on the new wires there, and then we just went ahead and bundled everything, left a ton of extra wire in here so that they can remount stuff if they want to. But we used a grounding point up here that was already pre-existing, and so this will all kind of just tuck in. It'll look a little bit like that, and then again they can clean this up down the road if they want to, but I wanted to leave enough room to have a little bit of adjustment, because if you cut these to length right away, then you're kind of stuck with it. Apologies, we had to just get this done, so I'm going to explain how this works. This is the main vehicle line that's going to an isolator post. This is the main vehicle negative going to an isolator post. Then the negative isolator post gets a main line to the main battery, and then it gets a line to the auxiliary battery that's missing. And then this switch is what controls the power to the main line of the vehicle. So it comes in here. If this switch cuts power to this cord, then you've got no volts to the vehicle. So this switch has one cable going to the mainline battery and another cable going to the house battery that's going to sit right here. House battery is going to be number 2, the main line is number 1. So if we scoot in right there, you see we're on 1 and 2. That would be just the main battery. That would be just the house battery. And that would be no battery. So a little extra anti-theft protection as well if I didn't post this on YouTube, but I'm going to. And just so you guys can see, these are those main lines that come in, and these just connect these two batteries together so that you have a dual battery system. And you could do the same thing on the house battery if you wanted to, but with one deep cycle battery, depending on how long you're running it, you'll probably be okay. Oops, yep. Dang it. Okay. Come on now.